Good afternoon and welcome to Joliet, Illinois and Route 66 Stadium, the home of the University of St. Francis Fighting Saints baseball team, who now gets set to take on St. Xavier University in a big-time matchup between the top two teams in the CCAC this year. I'm Terry Bonadonna on the call for today's game as the Saints take the field and get warmed up to face this St. Xavier lineup. Drew Hunniford leads things off playing right field. He's followed by third baseman Matt Monahan. Mark Martin is the shortstop, hitting third. Batting cleanup, the catcher, Matt Bunada. Hitting fifth, center fielder Max Downs. Augustin Guerrero hits sixth. He's the designated hitter. Ben Zordani is at first base. The second baseman is Garrett Bright. And batting ninth, left fielder Griffin Bright. The starting pitcher for St. Xavier today is Jared Jones. For St. Francis, it's Travis Schoonover leading off and playing right field. Batting second is the shortstop, Dustin Kroeb. Joe McGuire is the designated batter. Hitting fourth, first baseman Anthony Farron. Josh Tesh plays third base. Sean Harper hits sixth in left. Batting seventh, John Peterson, the second baseman. Adam Cebulka does the catching. And batting ninth, center fielder Bailey Schultz. On the mound for the Fighting Saints in Game 1 of this three-game series, it's right-hander John Reardon. Reardon is starting for the team, leading 12th time this year. He's 5-2 with a .453 ERA and 4 complete games. He faces Drew Hunniford to lead off today's ball game, and his first pitch misses up and away for ball one. We're underway at 3:03 p.m. Central Daylight Time. It's 1-0 on Hunniford, the right fielder and left-handed hitting batter, who takes the next pitch from Reardon for ball two. Reardon this season has thrown 55 2/3 innings. He's allowed 29 runs, 28 of them earned on 59 hits, with 45 strikeouts and 19 walks. Opponents have batted .266 against him for the year, and he falls very quickly behind Hunniford. 3 balls and no strikes, not the start that Reardon was looking for to his day. Still trying to come back and get the St. Xavier leadoff man, though. The 3-0 offering is taken well outside and low, ball four. A 4-pitch walk to the leadoff man. A disheartening start for John Reardon, facing a punishing batting lineup. St. Xavier entered play today hitting .329 as a team this year. They're averaging over 7 runs scored per game. Throw to first base, and Hunniford dives back to the bag safely. What I mean to say is you can't give him any free base runners. Certainly not 4 pitches to the leadoff batter of the game. That's what happened to Reardon, but he's trying to buckle down now and attack the next batter, Monahan, who takes strike one, the first strike of the game from Reardon. Matt Monahan is a .389 batter. Most on the team among players with 100 at-bats or more. He takes a strike over the outside corner, 0-2. Monahan's got a homer and 44 RBIs, 16 extra base hits in all for Matt Monahan. He bats with a runner at first and nobody out. Reardon trying to erase that runner at first base. His throw to first is not in time to pick off Hunniford. Drew Hunniford is a man you have to watch on the base paths, and Reardon knows it. Hasn't been caught stealing this year. Pickoff throw, close play this time, and they got him. He was leaning just a little bit towards second base. Reardon noticed it, threw back in his direction, and Hunniford, who walked on 4 pitches to begin the ball game, is picked off. So that base runner ends up meaning nothing to Reardon, nor to St. Xavier, as it turns out. 0-2 on Monahan. He takes a ball up and in. Not a good start for John Reardon, but after the pickoff and an 0-2 count on Monahan, 1 strike away from the second out. Now it's 1-2. And he misses low and in. That one bounces in the dirt. 2 balls and 2 strikes. St. Xavier comes in with a record of 27-11. St. Francis 23-17. 2 top teams in the CCAC. St. Xavier starting to pull away from the pack, though. There's a fly ball into shallow center field. Bailey Schultz comes in, makes the catch, and retires Monahan. 2 outs. Not too many guys, I don't think, are going to have a lot of success hitting the ball in the air today. Wind is howling in and is playing a big factor on everything hit into the air. So I don't think the ball is going to carry very well. However, the wind could have a positive impact for hitters if they hit it so high up. It just starts screwing with the defense a little bit. That may happen. Wouldn't be surprised if we saw a few routine or seemingly routine flies drop at some point in the game. Strike one called on Mark Martin, the shortstop. Martin's batting .385 this year. There's a check swing. And count is 1-1. One ball, one strike on Martin. Monahan's at first base. There's a called strike, 1-2. Leadoff batter of the game walked. He was picked off. Next batter up, Monahan, hit one of those fly balls that seemed like it should be easy. Not sure if it was the wind or something else. Bailey Schultz not able to make the plays. That ball's popped into shallow right field. Coming in towards the line, it's the second baseman, John Peterson, making the grab for out number 2. Travis Schoonover raced in for that ball from right field. I think he could have gotten there if he needed to, but Peterson was just a little bit faster. And Peterson was able to make the catch running outwards. So Monahan returns to first base. Again, the leadoff batter walked. He was picked off. Monahan hit a seemingly routine pop-up out to center field. Ball was mishandled in center by Bailey Schultz. Monahan reached first base. Martin pops out to second. And out's the catcher, Bonita. Check swing, roller down the third base line. Foul ball, strike one. Matt Bonita this year is hitting .319. 1 home run, 20 RBIs. He's got 8 doubles and a triple to his name. Batting cleanup today for the Cougars. Here's the 0-1. Swing and a miss, 0-2. St. Xavier's in their black uniform tops with gray bottoms today. The Saints are in all white as the home team. Home games have been few and far between for St. Francis of late after that long homestand that carried them through most of the month of March. The majority of April has been spent away from Joliet. They'll go to St. Xavier tomorrow for a doubleheader. 0-2 on Bonita. He lines it into center field. Bailey Schultz tracks it towards left center and makes the grab this time without incident. The inning is over. No runs, no hits, a walk, an error, one left. We head to the bottom of the first inning. No score. Bottom of the first inning, Travis Schoonover, Dustin Krob, Joe McGuire do up for St. Francis. Farron, Tesh, Harper, Peterson, Cebulka, and Schultz will also face right-hander Jared Jones. Starting for the 9th time this year, it's his 10th appearance overall for St. Xavier, 3-1 with a 4.6 ERA. In 47 innings pitched, he's allowed 28 runs, 24 of them earned on 50 hits, with 41 strikeouts and 13 walks. Opponents are batting .269 this year against Jones, trying to hold St. Francis scoreless, just as his counterpart held St. Xavier off the scoreboard in the first inning. And the first pitch does Jones a favor as Schoonover bounces it on one hop over to second base. Garrett Bright throws him out at first base. One pitch, one out in the bottom of the first inning. Brings up Dustin Krob. Krob, the shortstop for the Fighting Saints, is batting .333. He has started 27 of 41 games this year, including today. He takes a strike over the outside corner. 1 home run, 10 RBIs this year for the senior transfer Dustin Krob. Here's a swing and a high pop-up on the infield near second base. Shortstop Mark Martin gives way to the second baseman Bright, and Bright makes the catch. 2 away. It initially looked like it was more towards the middle of the field, but you can see the ball shift in midair right now with the way the wind is blowing straight in from left field, and it is gusting out there. I mentioned it in the first inning. It figures to play a pretty big impact on anything hit in the air in today's game. Here's Joe McGuire, 2 very quick outs, nobody on base. Bottom of the first inning and a scoreless tie. McGuire takes the first offering from Jones for strike 1. .291 batting average, 2 home runs, 20 RBIs for McGuire. The 0-1 misses for a ball, and the count is even. Anthony Farron waits in the on-deck circle as the Saints try to keep this inning going. Jones pitches from the stretch, just as his counterpart John Reardon was for most of the first inning. Jones hits the inside corner, strike 2. Reardon, though, was forced to because there was a runner on the whole time. Jared Jones chooses to pitch from the stretch with no one on base, and he's 1 strike away from a perfect first inning. 1-2 on McGuire. He swings and chops it to the third baseman, Matt Monahan. Scoops it up and throws to first. The inning is over. 1-2-3 go the Saints in the first. We go to the second. No score. After an inning of play, we have no score. We've got no hits so far, though St. Xavier did have 2 base runners in the first inning. Max Downs leads things off for the Cougars in the top of the second. John Reardon on the mound. His first pitch is flailed at wildly for strike 1. Downs this season for St. Xavier, hitting .339, 5 home runs, 34 RBIs. He's their leading power man. He takes a power hack there and misses for strike 2. More than a quarter of the team's 19 home runs belong to this man, center fielder Max Downs. A .339 average, however, doesn't even put him in the top half among starters. He strikes out swinging, pitches in the dirt, so Cebulka fires down to first to make it a done deal. First strikeout of the game for Reardon, first out of the second inning, and the batter is Guerrero. Matt Monahan leads the way with a .389 average. They've got 4 guys in today's starting lineup hitting at .346 or better. Guerrero's not one of them, but he's not that far behind. Agustin Guerrero is a .333 batter. He takes a strike over the outer corner. Guerrero's got a homer, 19 RBIs, .474 on-base percentage. 1 out, no one on. 3 straight retired by Reardon. There's a check swing, and he apparently did not go around. And they appeal to confirm that he didn't go. 1-1. Down struck out to begin the inning. Guerrero takes a ball downstairs from Reardon on 1-1, and now it's a hitter's count. 2 balls and a strike. Ben Zordani's in the on-deck circle, and then if anyone reaches Garrett Bright, will hit in the second. There's a called strike. It's 2-2. Reardon's trying to bounce back from an atypical outing last weekend. He got roughed up by Roosevelt. Saints were swept in a doubleheader at Roosevelt last weekend. There's a swing and a miss for strike 3. Back-to-back strikeouts for Reardon. He's gotten both Downs and Guerrero swinging. And now with 2 outs and nobody on, Zordani is the batter. Ben Zordani, the first baseman, steps in with a .223 average. 14 runs batted in. He takes strike 1. St. Xavier as a team this year is batting .329. Still looking for their first hit in this game, but we're early yet. Fouled back, out of play, 0-2. St. Xavier comes into this game hot. They've won 6 in a row. St. Francis is trying to get hot again. They went through a cold patch about a week or 2 ago. The 0-2. Ball in the dirt, 1-2. They had lost 5 out of 6 games in the stretch between April 6th and April 13th, and since then they've won 2 straight. They beat Roosevelt 8-1 on Monday, and then on Tuesday they beat Calumet St. Joseph 9-4. Ground ball to third base, scooped up by Tesh. Long throw across the diamond. Farron is able to hold the bag for out number 3. Nice stretch by Farron. The inning is over. No runs scored. Nobody reaches base. We head to the bottom of the second inning. 0-0. Middle of the order for the Saints in the second inning. Farron leads things off. No score. No hits for either side yet. Farron aims to change that. .421 batting average. He'd be the guy to do it. He swings at the first pitch and bloops it down the right field line. It cuts foul for strike one. Anthony Farron's got 5 home runs, 17 extra base hits in all, 31 RBIs this year. He's been easily the best hitter in St. Francis's lineup and arguably the best hitter in the conference. One of the best in the country. 0-1. Ball inside, 1-1. Farron, Tesh, and Harper due to hit against Jared Jones, the lanky right-hander who sets for the 1-1. Farron grounds it sharply up the middle and out to center field. That's a base hit. It's the first one of the ball game. It's the first base runner of the game for St. Francis. A leadoff single in the second inning for Anthony Farron. And that brings up Josh Tesh, the junior third baseman. Tesh is hitting .321 and 78 at bats. He's got 25 hits. A home run, 14 RBIs. Trying to at least move up the runner in this at-bat with Farron at first base and nobody out. First pitch to Tesh is taken for ball one. Tesh, right-handed hitter, squats down into his batting stance. Jones's pitch is swung on and fouled off, 1-1. Jones has been a good strike thrower to begin today's game. Tesh is the 5th batter to face him. He's the first one to fall, or I should say to get ahead in the count 1-0. Jones had been ahead of the first 4. He's missed the zone on only 3 pitches in total among the first 5 batters. Tesh knocks it in the air out to right field. Long run towards the line. Hunniford lays out for it and can't make the play. The ball ricochets down into the corner. Farron to third base. Tesh has a double. 2 on, nobody out for St. Francis. That ball just kept slicing towards the line. Farron thought it was going to be caught. If he had read that ball a little bit better, he would have been standing at home plate right now, and the Saints would be up by a run. But with nobody out, no sense in taking unnecessary risks. He held up. He ends up making it to third base as Tesh makes it into second. 2 men in scoring position for Sean Harper. And Harper's been swinging the bat pretty well lately. He's got 4 RBIs, looking for at least one right here. .266 hitter. He pops up the first pitch, shallow right field. Hunniford comes in and makes the catch on the run. Not deep enough for Farron to even think about tagging. He stays at third base, 1 away now. And the batter is John Peterson. Second 1 pitch out that Jared Jones has recorded in today's game. Infield has stayed back for St. Xavier. It was back on the last at-bat. It's still back now. Although the cornermen are starting to move in. Ben Zordani on the grass and Matt Monahan about even with the bag at third. Peterson's the second baseman for St. Francis. He swings the first pitch and taps it into the batter's box. That's a foul ball for strike one. Peterson, the junior, is hitting .257. 9 runs batted in on the season. Good opportunity for number 10 right here. A base hit would score at least 1. Even a fly ball would bring home a run. Ground ball to the middle infielders, plays at first. To the corner infielders, the play you would think would be at home. Ball 1 on Peterson. The count is even. No score, but the Saints are threatening. Leadoff single for Farron, followed by a Tesh double. Peterson fouls it away, and Jones is 1 strike away from sending him back to the dugout. Jared Jones does not have a strikeout yet today. On the season, 41 of them in 47 innings. So he's quite capable. 1-2. Peterson, it's a grounder to third. Farron comes in to score. The throw from Monahan to first base is in time. Tesh heading for third, and he's safe. Slid around the tag and got into third base with 2 outs. Nice base running by Tesh. Good base running by Farron, who was off on contact. And even with the third baseman playing in, he didn't even think about throwing over to first base. Or I should say he didn't think about throwing home. He was thinking first base all the way. So Peterson is retired 5-3. But Farron scores. Tesh moves up to third base on a risky maneuver, but he was able to slide just around the tag. Here's Adam Cebulka. 1-0 St. Francis. Cebulka, the catcher, takes strike one. Adam Cebulka this year is batting .191. He's got 21 hits in 110 at-bats. 3 home runs for the junior catcher. He knocks this ball into left center field on a base hit. It's an RBI single for Adam Cebulka. His 20th run batted in this year. 2-0 St. Francis. Third hit of the inning for the Saints. Still 2 outs. Cebulka's at first now, and now he leaves first. Courtesy runner over at first base with the catcher running. They give him a chance to go back and get ready for the next inning as Dolan Nicholson comes out to run at first base. Batter is Bailey Schultz. He swings to the first pitch and hits it in the air to right field. Hunterford into foul territory, can't make the play. He drops it in foul ground for strike one on Schultz. Wind continues to cause problems for fielders. That looked like a routine play off the bat, just kept drifting and drifting and drifting. Eventually made it into foul territory. It looked like Hunterford was watching his steps, knowing that the pitching mound was in the area, didn't want to step over it and risk falling and injuring himself. The ball did hit him in the glove while he was on the run, and he couldn't put the squeeze on it. 0-1 on Schultz. He bunts it down the third base line. Good bunt. Monahan, bare hands. The throw to first is off the mark. A bunt single for Bailey Schultz. Cebulka moves up to second base. 2 on, 2 out. Good bunt from Schultz, although a good throw from Monahan would have had him. Monahan was well off balance as he barehanded that ball and threw it to first base, and he didn't get much on the throw, pulling Zordani off the bag in the process. Travis Schoonover gets his second at bat of the game. Schoonover is 0 for 1. He swung at Jones's first pitch, then grounded out to second base. He swings the first pitch here and flies it into left center. Downs covers the ground, makes the catch, and ends the inning. But 2 runs score for the Fighting Saints on 4 hits. They leave 2. On our way to the third, it's 2-0 St. Francis. Two 0 St. Francis as we start the third inning. Garrett Bright takes ball 1 from John Reardon. Reardon has retired. The last 5 men that he's faced after the first 2 batters of the game both reached. It's 1-0 on Bright, who takes downstairs. 2 balls and no strikes. Garrett, one of back-to-back Bright brothers in the lineup. Griffin Bright is on deck as Reardon finds the zone this time. The count is 2-1. Garrett's a 346 hitter with a home run and 27 RBIs, and he's the number 8 batter, hitting 346. Ground ball weakly hit to the right side, picked up by Peterson. His throw is wild to first base, but Farron's able to grab it and apply the tag for out number 1. Easy grounder to John Peterson, but Bright was hustling down the line, and that may have influenced Peterson a little bit. Hurried the throw perhaps, didn't really get his feet fully set from second base. And his throw pulled Farron off the bag, but Farron was able to tag Bright going by for the first out. Now it's Griffin Bright hitting the ball to the exact same spot. Peterson this time fires a perfect strike over to Anthony Farron at first base. Back-to-back ground outs to second base for Brights. And we're back to the top of the order with 2 outs and nobody on in the bottom of the third. Top of the third, rather. St. Xavier, the road team today. They'll be the home team tomorrow as St. Francis goes out to the south side of Chicago for a doubleheader. Drew Hunniford is the batter, and Hunniford takes ball 1 up and away. Drew Hunniford drew a 4-pitch walk in the first inning. Reardon's had very good control with his pitches ever since that walk. But he misses on the first 2 to Hunniford in this at-bat, so it's 2-0 here. Hunniford has seen 6 pitches. They've all been balls. Drew Hunniford, a .315 batter. 3 homers, 18 RBIs. And there he takes a strike. It's 2-1. Hunniford is a patient hitter. Part of the reason he's up at the top of the lineup, he's drawn 16 walks this year. 17 after the first inning, and 1 away from making it 18 here as he takes low. 3-1. No other batter has even seen a 3-ball count. Reardon has missed on 7 of 8 pitches to this guy and make it 8 of 9. Hunniford draws another walk. Hunniford has not yet swung the bat, nor has he needed to. He let all 4 pitches go by in the first inning. Here in the third, he took 5 straight, and 4 of them missed their intended target. Here's Matt Monahan. 0 for 1. He reached on an error in the first. Lined off the screen for strike 1. Hunniford walked in the first inning. Monahan reached on the error, and after that, Reardon had no problem with the St. Xavier lineup. He retired the last 7 batters in order before getting back to the top of the order here in the third. The leadoff man walks. Throw to first base sends Hunniford back to the bag. Hunniford will be keeping a close eye on Reardon's pickoff move. He was picked off of first back in the first inning. Runner goes. The 0-1 swung on and fouled back off the netting again. 0-2. Hunniford has to return to first base. Pitcher's in the driver's seat in this at-bat. John Reardon 1 strike away from getting out of the inning. It's 0-2. And a throw to first base. Gets away from Farron. Hunniford will move up to second base easily as the ball caroms down into the bullpen. Hunniford trying for third. Here comes the throw. It's not in time. A 2-base error allows Hunniford to make it all the way to third base on a pickoff attempt. And St. Xavier's got their first man in scoring position today. No huge worry for Reardon. Still 2 outs in the inning now. It's still an 0-2 count on Matt Monahan. If Reardon can get this out, he won't have to concern himself with the error. And there it is, called strike 3 over the outside corner. Third strike out of the ballgame for John Reardon, and St. Xavier does nothing in the third. No hits, a walk, and a man left at third base, but nothing on the scoreboard as we go to the bottom of the third. 2-0 Saints. 2-0 St. Francis. They look to add to their lead here in the bottom of the third inning. Dustin Kroeb leads things off. Kroeb takes the first pitch high for ball one. Kroeb, McGuire, Farron, the 2, 3, and 4 batters to face Jared Jones. Jones was sharp in the first inning. Through just 7 pitches, retired the side in order. In the second, he faced 7 batters. He gave up 4 hits and 2 runs. Kroeb takes ball 2. 2-0 the count. Jones gets the sign in from Matt Bunada. And the next pitch finds its target for strike 1. 2-1 the count. RBIs in the second inning rally for St. Francis came from John Peterson on a ground out and Adam Cebulka on a base hit. There's a high fly, shallow right, coming in and making the catch. Drew Hunniford, 1 down. Here's Joe McGuire. Top of the order has posed no problem for Jones. The 1, 2, and 3 batters have gone a combined 0 for 5. 4 through 9 in the batting order are 4 for 6. McGuire grounded out to third his first time up. Here he takes a strike. Anthony Farron is on deck. McGuire trying to give him a base runner to work with. Jones takes a long pause atop the mound and now comes set for the 0-1. Hard grounder right to the shortstop. Mark Martin up with it, throws to first base, 2 away. Top 3 batters in the order are now 0 for 6. We'll see if Farron, though, can keep up the success from the middle and the bottom of the order. Farron was the first base runner of the game for St. Francis back in the bottom of the second inning. He wrapped a sharp single up the middle. And that opened the floodgates. This time Farron swings the first pitch, flies it to deep right. Hunniford goes back to the warning track, dives, and makes the grab in front of the wall. Hunniford misjudged that ball a little bit. Rather than chasing it back to the spot it was going to land, he went slowly, step by step, towards the warning track. The last instant recognized it was over his head, and sensational athleticism from Drew Hunniford. He's able to make a diving grab just in front of the wall to end the inning. 1, 2, 3 go the Saints in the third, but as we move to the fourth inning, they lead St. Xavier 2-0. It's the Saints by 2 in the fourth inning. Mark Martin leads things off, swings the first pitch. It's a looping liner to the left side of the infield where the catch is made by Dustin Kroeb. We're off to a swing and start here in the fourth inning. Martin is 0 for 2, 1 down. Still no hits for St. Xavier. They've had 3 base runners. 2 of them have been Drew Hunniford, who's walked twice. Monahan reached down an error. Everyone else has been retired. Popped up foul and out of play for strike 1 on Matt Bunada, up for the second time today. Hit the ball pretty well, but lined out to center field in the first inning. This time he hits with nobody on base, 1 down. He takes a strike, 0-2. John Reardon so far doing an excellent job of erasing the memories of a substandard start last weekend at Roosevelt. He ended up taking the loss in a game against the Lakers. Ground ball, left side, charging to the third baseman Tesh. He gloves, makes an off-balance throw to first, and a great pick by Anthony Farron records the out. Bonita is retired, 5-3, 2 down. Here's Max Downs. Downs is 0 for 1. He struck out in the second inning, one of 3 strikeouts so far in the ballgame for Reardon. Reardon's been reliable for the Fighting Saints all year. Ball 1 outside. So it was a surprise to see him get roughed up last weekend. His ERA entering today up to 4.53, and that's really not representative of how well he's pitched overall, as there's another ground ball to short. Picked up by Krob. The throw to first base is there for the out. Second time in the game that's happened. But Anthony Farron was pulled off the bag by the throw from Dustin Krob. And this tag was a little bit more difficult, but he was able to swipe it by the leg of Downs and get him just before he touched the base. The side is retired. Second 1-2-3 inning of the game out of 4 total for John Reardon. We head to the bottom of the 4th inning, 2-0 Fighting Saints. Two to nothing St. Francis, bottom of the 4th inning. Here's Josh Tesh leading things off. 1 for 1 with a big double in the game. Tesh takes a strike from Jared Jones. Tesh scored on an Adam Cebulka RBI single back in the 2nd inning. That's where the Saints got both of their runs. Swing and a miss, 0-2. Chased one outside of the zone that time. A good pitch from Jared Jones. Now he'll look to put him away. Still looking for his first strikeout of the game. Typically a pretty decent strikeout pitcher. 41 of them in 47 innings coming in. There's a fly ball out to left center field. It's a long run for Griffin Bright and for Max Downs. And Downs is the one who's able to make the catch in left center. The center fielder. You really have to watch out on every fly ball. They're all being pushed back towards center field or towards right from left. Off the bat, that ball looked like it would be closer to Griffin Bright and ended up much closer to Max Downs, who was able to make the running grab out in left center. Didn't carry very far. 5 in a row retired by Jared Jones. Here's Sean Harper. Harper swings to the first pitch and hits a grounder right back to the mound. Jones tosses to first, 2 down. Both pitchers now are on a roll. Both men are working quickly. Both men are getting quick outs. And they are getting out. St. Francis has had 4 base runners through 3 2/3 innings, and they all came in the span of 6 at-bats. St. Xavier's had only 3 base runners through their 4 innings. They've all been from the top of the order. Ball 1 on John Peterson up high. Peterson is 0 for 1 with an RBI. Scored a run on a ground out in the 2nd inning. 1-0 pitch is a strike. It's 1-1. Two to nothing St. Francis on their 2-run outburst in the second inning. Called strike 2 on Peterson. Jones continues to pump in strikes. He has not walked anybody yet today. Seems to be ahead of pretty much every hitter he faces. He's ahead of Peterson right now. Ball and 2 strikes. Here's the offering. Grounded foul to the third base side. Still 1-2. Jones has thrown 2 1-2-3 innings today, both the first and the third. He only needed 7 pitches. Ball up and away, 2-2. Peterson's made this fourth inning a little bit more difficult on him. He's thrown 9 pitches so far in the fourth. Still 1 out away from a perfect frame as Peterson pops it sky high, right side of the infield. And the first baseman, Zordani, comes over to make the catch. 1, 2, 3 go the Fighting Saints in the fightless fourth. We'll head to the 5th inning. 2-0 St. Francis. Agustin Guerrero leads off the 5th inning for the Cougars and takes strike 1. St. Francis leads St. Xavier 2-0. Guerrero struck out swinging his first time up. 3 strikeouts so far for Reardon. He has set down 4 consecutive batters. And he fires another strike. It's 0-2. 4 in a row and 11 of the last 12. Reardon's been cruising. Trying to put away Guerrero, the 0-2 pitch. Swung on and fouled off. Just barely got a piece of that one to keep the at-bat alive. Still 0-2. Reardon's been working very efficiently. He took just 9 pitches to get his last 4 outs, all of them in a row. He's issued 2 walks in the ball game today. They've both been given to Drew Hunniford, the leadoff batter. Nobody else has earned a free pass or even been given one. Strike 3 called over the outside corner. Reardon puts away Guerrero. 4th strikeout of the ball game. Second one he's gotten looking. Here's Ben Zordani. 5 in a row retired. 2 strikeouts during that stretch. Zordani is 0 for 1. Grounded out to third base in the second. Popped up to the right side, foul and out of play. The ball just kept pushing further and further out of play. I'm not sure it even landed in the park. 0-1 is the count. We figured the wind would play an impact today, and it has. Ball outside, 1-1. Sometimes in obvious ways and sometimes a little bit more subtly. But every ball that's been hit in the air has drifted towards right. Check swing. He takes outside. 2-1 the count. Zordani, at least by the numbers, is the only guy in this lineup who's not a big hitter. 223 is his average. Everybody else in the lineup today hitting 300 or better. Zordani flies it into right field. Schoonover backs up in front of the warning track. He makes the grab. 2 away. Here's Garrett Bright. 0 for 1. He grounded out to second base in the third inning. St. Francis scored 2 in the second, trying to hold that lead into the halfway point. Ball up and in on Garrett Bright, 1-0. So far, Reardon has been able to withstand a very difficult offensive attack. The ball's popped up, shallow right field towards the line. Schoonover coming in into foul ground. Schoonover can't get there. Strike one. Another ball that was in the air and just kept pushing and pushing towards the seats on the right side. Schoonover kept coming in. Realistically, that ball probably would have been playable if he had been able to get there in time. Just a foot or so over the barrier, but he came in as fast as he could and just came up a little bit short. So the count is 1-1 with 2 outs and no one on. Bouncer up the middle, past the glove of Reardon. It kicks off of second base, and Garrett Bright has got himself an infield single. First hit of the ball game for St. Xavier. Tough break for St. Francis. It was not a hard hit ball. Reardon tried to make what would have been a nifty backhanded play as he spun around, tried to stick his glove out, but he missed it. The ball ended up bouncing off of second base and popping up into the air where neither John Peterson nor Dustin Kroeb had any opportunity to make the play in time. 2-out runner aboard in front of Griffin Bright. Bright takes ball 1 inside. Griffin Bright is 0 for 1. He grounded out to second base in the third inning. He takes a strike here. It's 1-1. Griffin Bright, the younger of the Bright brothers. He's just a sophomore. Big brother Garrett's a senior. There's a high pop fly, foul territory, right side, and again, Schoonover watches the wind carry that ball out of play. It is a strike, though. 1-2 now on Griffin Bright. Guerrero struck out. Zordani flew out. Garrett Bright singled, but Griffin Bright's in a hole. 1-2. Reardon stares in at Cebulka, and now he glances over his shoulder at the base runner. He's set for the pitch. Fly ball into center field. Stepping in is Bailey Schultz. Schultz makes the catch. The inning is over. A 2-out single is all the offense for St. Xavier in the 5th inning. We've reached the halfway point of today's game. 2-0 St. Francis. Adam Cebulka leads off the 5th inning for St. Francis, trying to help them to a bigger lead than the one they've already got. It's 2-0. Both pitchers have been outstanding today. Got a great pitcher's duel. Cebulka, though, has been a big part of the reason that St. Francis has the lead so far as he swings and misses for strike one. He's got one of the Fighting Saints' 4 hits, an RBI single back in the 2nd inning. All 4 of their hits did come in that one frame. Cebulka drives this ball into left center field, cutting down towards the left fielder Griffin Bright. He's able to make the grab for out number 1. Here's Bailey Schultz. Schultz singled in the 2nd inning. With 2 outs, he advanced Cebulka to second base, looking to extend a St. Francis rally. But Travis Schoonover flew out to end that inning, and nobody's reached base since, so it's 8 straight retired. Jones trying to go for a full round here and make it 9 for 9 the second time through the batting order. Ball 1 outside on Schultz. Farron singled, Tesh doubled. Peterson had an RBI groundout. Cebulka's RBI single made it 2-0. Swing and a miss, 1-1. Since then, pitchers have taken over. We've seen a combined total of 8 base runners in this game through 4.5 innings. 1-1. Swing and a miss from Schultz, 1-2. Jones hasn't gotten a ton of those today. Swings and misses. Mostly he's been getting soft contact. One out, nobody on. Schultz takes the ball outside, 2-2. Jones hasn't walked anybody. He hasn't struck anybody out. Now it's 2-2 on Bailey Schultz. Right-hander sets and deals. Ripped hard but foul down the left field line. Still strike 2. 2 balls on Schultz with the top of the order coming up next. Jones trying to set down his 9th consecutive batter. Bullpens have been empty today. It's been a good battle of starters. Reardon for the Saints and Jones for the Cougars. There's a pop-up behind home plate, drifting back towards the screen, and it will get out of play. Just over the screen and out of the reach of the catcher Bunada. Still 2-2 on Schultz. He'll see a 7th pitch. Jones has had multiple innings in today's game that have gone as long as this entire at-bat. Strike 3 called over the inside corner. Schultz is rung up for the first strikeout of the game for Jared Jones. 2 outs in the 5th, and that is 9 in a row retired by Jared Jones. He's on a roll. See if he can get Schoonover for a 3rd time. Schoonover has only seen 2 pitches thus far. He's 0 for 2. And he swings at the first one again, but this time he rolls it through the right side of the infield for a base hit. So Travis Schoonover has been ultra aggressive today. This time it pays off. He's 1 for 3. He's got the 5th hit of the ball game for St. Francis. Here's Dustin Krob. Saints trying to put together a 2-out rally. Krob is 0 for 2. He's popped out to second and flown to right. 2 outs, 1 on. First pitch to Krob. Bouncing ball down the 3rd base line. That stays fair as Monahan scoops it up. His throw to first is late. It's an infield single for Krob. I think that ball was going to go foul. I was shocked that Monahan picked it up. Just didn't seem necessary. It would have been strike 1 on Krob. Instead, it's hit 1 for Krob. Monahan may just not have been confident that it was going to go foul, but he certainly couldn't have been confident that he was going to get the runner going down the line there. Krob was safe by a mile. Not a whole lot to lose by just letting it roll. Here's Joe McGuire. He's 0 for 2. He's grounded out to both members of the left side of the infield. McGuire takes strike 1. Bottom of the 5th inning, getting interesting here with 2 outs as the Saints try to extend their 2-run lead. 0-1. There's a swing and a foul back. It's 0-2. Jones has been throwing a lot of strikes. Give him that credit. Even when he has gotten hit. 6 hits now in the game. He hasn't walked anybody. He hasn't hit anybody. No wild pitches. He is pounding the strike zone, getting ahead of just about everyone. Ground ball to third base, picked up by Monahan. Monahan looks to second, decides to throw to first instead, and gets the runner there. 5-3 put out. The inning is over. We head to the 6th, 2-0, St. Francis. Top of the order for St. Xavier in the top of the 6th inning. Drew Hunterford takes ball 1 up high. Hunterford's seen a lot of those. He's walked twice. He's only seen 9 pitches in his first 2 plate appearances. Reardon's been on the mark against just about everybody else. Hunterford sees a strike this time. It's 1-1. Not only has he not walked anybody else, he hasn't even gone to 3 balls on anybody else. But against Hunterford, 2 at-bats, 9 pitches, 2 walks. Hunterford finally swings for the first time today and pops it out to shallow right. Schoonover comes in and calls off Peterson, who was going back. Travis Schoonover makes the grab for out number 1. Hunterford is retired for the first time today. Now everyone has been set down at least once. Reardon has allowed 2 walks and a hit, and that's all through 5 1/3 innings. Here's Matt Monahan. Monahan swings at the first pitch and lifts it to shallow left field. Coming in is Harper. Harper nearing the infield. Finally is able to make the grab as he falls to his knees. That ball just kept coming in and in and in, and that's what's been happening on any ball hit to the outfield, and especially to left, the way the wind is blowing straight in from left field. That ball, by the time it landed, was really in the jurisdiction of Dustin Krob and not Sean Harper, but Harper was tracking it the entire way. He was finally able to grab it as he was falling down. 2 up, 2 down in the 6th. Batter is Mark Martin. Martin takes a strike over the inside corner. This is no small feat what Reardon has done so far today. I mentioned before, St. Xavier's offense averages nearly 8 runs per game. Ball in the dirt. It's 1-1. And they're hitting as a team right around .330. So this is a difficult offense, to say the least, to shut down this way. But Reardon, so far, with a long way to go, has shut them down up to this point. Strike called on Mark Martin, 1-2. Martin has made himself familiar with the middle infield. He's popped out to second and lined to short. This time he takes strike 3 and the inning is over. So Martin is 0 for 3. Reardon has got 5 strikeouts, and he's got another 1-2-3 inning. That's his 3rd of the day out of 6 total. We go to the bottom of the 6th inning. St. Francis has a 2-0 lead on St. Xavier. 2-0 St. Francis. They scored twice in the bottom of the second inning. Neither side has scored since. We're in the sixth now as Farron takes ball one inside. Anthony Farron 1 for 2. Singleton scored in the second inning. In the third, he was robbed on a deep fly ball to right field. Drew Hunterford made a great diving catch. Time is called by Farron as he steps out of the box. 1 ball, no strikes. Farron leading off an inning for the second time today. Takes a ball. It's 2-0. 6 hits for St. Francis now. 4 of them came in the second inning. 2 more in the fifth. They were not able to score, though, in the fifth inning as both of their hits were 2-out singles. There's a swing and a pop foul out of play from Farron. The count is 2-1. No runs, a hit, no errors for St. Xavier. 2-6-2 for St. Francis. John Reardon has been in total control. Jared Jones hasn't been a whole lot worse as far as St. Xavier is concerned, but he did have that speed bump that he hit in the second inning as Farron lines it down the left field line. It drops in for a base hit and rolls down into the corner. Farron around first, heading for second. Griffin Bright's throw is cut off. It's a double for Farron. He's got 2 hits in the ball game. And the Saints have a man in scoring position with nobody out. Second extra base hit of the ball game for the Saints. It's their 7th hit overall. They also got a double out of Josh Tesh back in the second. Tesh bats right now, needing maybe just a single to get a run in. First pitch to Tesh, misses low and in, ball 1. St. Francis maybe starting to find some cracks in Jared Jones's armor. 3 of the last 4 batters going back to last inning have reached on hits. There's a bouncing ball up the middle. Charging is the shortstop Martin. Right around second base, he's able to glove it and throw Tesh out at first, but it's a productive out from Tesh. Hit towards the middle of the field. That allowed Farron to advance 90 feet. He's at third right now. That would be a huge insurance run if they could get him in. Sean Harper doesn't need a big hit. A fly ball would potentially do it. The infield comes in at all 4 positions. Harper is 0 for 2. He's flown out to right field and bounced out to the pitcher. Sean Harper takes strike 1 over the inside corner. John Peterson on deck. 2-0. St. Francis leads. The 0-1. Popped foul and out of play. 0-2 on Harper. Harper came up with a runner at third base and nobody out in the second inning. He flew out to right field, but it wasn't deep enough to score Farron. This time he bats with Farron at third and 1 out. And he takes the ball up high. It's 1-2. Jones having to work a little bit harder for outs these last few innings. He was on fire to start. Maybe tiring a bit. Or maybe Saints have just done a good job of sticking with him and seeing what he's had to offer. Adjusting as they go. Fouled away, still 1-2. Farron doubled. He moved to third on Tesh's ground out. Now with the infield in at all 4 spots, it's 1-2 on Sean Harper. Harper hits a bouncer to third. Monahan comes home with the throw. Farron is safe. Slides in just ahead of the tag. A very close play at the plate. Several St. Xavier fielders threw up their hands in shock at that call. It was hit softly enough that Farron, who was running on contact, was able to get to the plate just before the throw from Monahan, and I don't think Monahan did anything wrong. It seemed like he fielded it as quickly as he could and made a good, smart throw to the plate. The play just was developing too slowly to get the lead runner. Ball 1 high on John Peterson. So it'll go as a fielder's choice. No hit for Harper, but he does get an RBI. 1-0 on Peterson. 3-0 Saints. Peterson lines it into left field, and that hangs up in the air just a little bit too long. Griffin Bright comes on and makes the grab. 2 away. Here's Adam Cebulka. Cebulka's got one big 2-out RBI hit already today. We'll see if he can come up with another one right here with Harper over at first base and 2 down. Throw over to first base. Harper dives back to the bag. Sean Harper this season has 3 stolen bases in 4 attempts. First pitch to Cebulka is over the middle for strike 1. Jared Jones stares in at Matt Bonita, now glances over to first base. He sets for the 0-1 offering and throws to first instead. Harper dives back to the bag safely. Like I said, Harper runs pretty well, 3 steals in 4 attempts, but this is a team that doesn't run very much. They attempt about a stolen base a game. Strike 2 called on Cebulka. Count is very quickly 0-2. A run is in this inning for St. Francis on a close call at home plate. It went the Fighting Saints' way. Cebulka looking to extend the inning. The 0-2 pitch from Jared Jones. Swung on and flown out to left field shallow and towards foul territory. It hovers back into play and drops untouched for a foul ball. Mark Martin, Matt Monahan, Griffin Bright all gave that ball a chase. It looked initially like it was going to go out of play, but you didn't want to commit to that sort of thing the way that the balls have been moving in the wind today. It was at the last second that it really cut back into fair territory, I should say into foul territory, but on the field of play. And where it dropped could have been an easy catch, but it didn't come straight up and straight down. It took a circuitous route to get there. Still 0-2 on Cebulka. Throw to first base. If Cebulka reaches, Bailey Schultz bats next. 0-2 count. There's a swing and a foul ball straight back. Cebulka stays alive at no balls and 2 strikes. Here's Jones staring in. He comes set. Next pitch. Lined into left field. Griffin Bright takes a step in. Now he goes back a step and makes the grab. The inning is over. Well, run scores on a hit. An RBI fielder's choice from Sean Harper. And as we go to the 7th inning, it's now 3-0 St. Francis. 3-0 now. St. Francis has their biggest lead of the game. 9 outs to go for Reardon, and his first pitch of the 7th inning is grounded by Matt Bunada over to second base. Picked up by John Peterson, who throws him out at first. 1 away. 5 straight set down by Reardon. He's gotten 11 of the last 12 and 18 of the last 20. That was after the first 2 batters of the game reached. One of them wasn't his fault. It was a defensive misplay. Max Downs is the batter, and as a gust of wind blows in, he steps out of the box. Downs is 0 for 2, struck out swinging in the second. Grounded out to short in the 4th inning. He takes ball 1 outside from Reardon. Saints are 8 outs away from a win. This would be a big one if they can get it. They entered play today in 2nd place in the conference, but 4 games behind St. Xavier for first. Ball inside, 2-0. Saints ran into one rough patch between April 6th and April 13th when they lost 5 out of 6 games. That's really been their only bad stretch since they started conference play. Swing and a miss. It's 2-1. They've been winning since then. They've won back-to-back games, but there's just been no ground to gain because St. Xavier hasn't been losing at all. Strike call, 2-2. St. Xavier's won 6 consecutive games coming into play today. 2-2. Line to third, gloved on a hop by Josh Tesh. The throw to first is in time. That liner sunk right in front of Tesh. He had to play it on a short hop instead of catching it on the fly, but no harm done as he's able to pick it up cleanly and throw over to first base for the out. Here's Agustin Guerrero. Actually, looks like we got a pinch hitter here. For Guerrero, it's number 8, Mike Farnan. Farnan takes the first pitch strike. Guerrero was the designated hitter. So this shouldn't shake up the lineup too much as there's a fly ball out to right field. Well hit, Schoonover backing up to the warning track. He's got it. He makes the grab right at the edge of the warning track and ends the inning. 1-2-3. Go the Cougars in the 7th. Time to stretch here in Joliet. It's 3-0. Saints lead. Nine, 1-2 to up for St. Francis in the bottom of the 7th. They were able to add to their lead with a run in the 6th, so it's now 3-0. Schultz trying to get aboard to lead off the 7th inning. Fouls off the first pitch for strike 1. Only twice today have the Saints put the leadoff man on. They did it in the 2nd and they did it in the 6th. Both times it was Anthony Farron, and both times he eventually scored. This time it's Bailey Schultz leading off, and he fouls it off to the left. 0-2. John Reardon has dominated through 7 innings. He's allowed only one hit, an infield single. And he is showing no signs of slowing down. 2 innings away, potentially from another complete game. He's got 4 of them so far this year as that ball is popped up by Schultz on the infield. First baseman Zordani into foul territory, can't make the play. Still 0-2 on Schultz. It's a foul ball, and there's another one that was impacted by the wind. Off the bat, it seemed like it would land in fair territory. It didn't. And the catcher, Matt Bunada, I don't think ever saw it. Aside from having problems with the wind, it's a very sunny afternoon. It's chilly, but very sunny. So looking straight up, not easy to find the ball immediately. So Schultz gets a reprieve. It's still 0-2 on him. And a chance to pick up his second hit of the game. He had a bunt single back in the second before striking out in the fifth. There's ball one, 1-2. Big weekend series for St. Francis. It's big for St. Xavier as well, but especially for St. Francis. Coming into this one in second place in the conference. Schultz reaches out and pokes it into center field, taking a step back. As Max Downs, he makes the catch. Downs started in, but was able to adjust on the fly. Leadoff batter retired in the seventh. Back to the top of the order, Travis Schoonover. Saints trail St. Xavier by 4 games in the conference standings. But if they sweep this weekend series, that deficit will be down to 1. Travis Schoonover takes the pitch for the first time today, and it's strike 1. Schoonover had put the first pitch in play in each of his first 3 at-bats. A ground out, a fly out, and a single. Ripped down the right field line. That's a foul ball. Count is 0-2. 1 out, nobody on in the bottom of the 7th. If the Saints are able to take 2 out of 3 in this series, they'll be 3 games back. Still a big deficit at this time of year. 2 hopper over to third base. Matt Monahan gloves it, throws to first. 2 outs. After this game today, well, I should say really after the 2 games tomorrow, after this series is over, just 6 conference games left, so a 3-game deficit in 6 games would be hard to overcome, but a 5-game deficit would be nigh impossible to overcome, and that would be the deficit if St. Xavier takes 2 out of 3, and if they sweep, St. Francis will be eliminated from winning the conference. Strike 1 called on Dustin Krob. Krob is 1 for 3 with a single today. Good thing for St. Francis is that regardless of where they finish in the regular season, they'll get a chance to win the conference tournament and clinch a spot in the national tournament. Ball 1 on Krob, 1-1. And the really good news is the conference tournament is going to be played here the first week of May. Saints don't lose here very often. Krob hits a grounded to short, scooped up by Mark Martin. A throw to first base is in time. It's a 1-2-3 inning. 4th 1-2-3 inning of the game for Jared Jones, and we head to the 8th. It's 3-0 St. Francis. Three 0 St. Francis as we open the 8th inning. Pinch hitter for St. Xavier leads things off. Ben Zordani takes a seat, and Zach Forney comes up as a pinch hitter for him. He leads things off against John Reardon and takes strike one. Reardon has not allowed a base runner since an infield single for Garrett Bright back in the 5th inning. Forney takes the strike, 0-2. Zach Forney, a .326 batter with a homer and 10 RBIs this year. Zordani had been 0 for 2, so he's done for the day. Forney swings and keeps the at-bat alive with a foul ball. Zordani, Garrett Bright, Griffin Bright, scheduled trio of hitters this inning. Garrett Bright, who had that infield single in the 5th, is the only one with a hit in the game. There have also been 2 walks. 4 total base runners for St. Xavier today. There's a fly ball deep down the left field line, cutting out of play. Still 0-2 on Forney. First 2 batters of the game reached a walk and an error. There was a pickoff in there, though. Nobody made it beyond first base. Only 1 runner all day has gotten past first base. That was Drew Hunniford in the 3rd inning. He walked, and then on an errant pickoff throw from John Reardon, he made it all the way to 3rd base. He's the only one in scoring position today. And the 0-2 pitch hits Forney in the back. He gets to take his base. The leadoff man reaches for St. Xavier here in the 8th. That one hurts John Reardon, I think, more than it hurts Forney. Just grazed by Forney. It looked initially like maybe it was even behind him, but it did apparently get him in the back before it was caught by Adam Cebulka. So the leadoff man reaches. And here's Garrett Bright. Bright swings the first pitch and fouls it away, strike one. And that base runner hurts Reardon for sure, though. It's a 3-run game now after St. Francis was able to add an insurance run in the 6th, so it's not the tying run in the box right now. Ball 1 on Garrett Bright. Count is even. This is the first time since the 1st inning St. Xavier has had a base runner with fewer than 2 outs. It happened on an 0-2 pitch. Ball low, 2-1. Here's the set from Reardon and the delivery. Inside, nearly hit another one. Count is 3-1 on Garrett Bright. Bright grounded out to second base in the 3rd inning. He had a bounder up the middle in the 5th, just outside the reach of the pitcher Reardon. It ended up hitting off of second base and then dying on the infield. The only hit of the game so far for the Cougars. Garrett Bright takes the strike. The count is full. This is just the 3rd time in the game that Reardon has gone to 3 balls on a St. Xavier hitter. The other 2 times resulted in walks. Runner at first base, nobody out. Bright swings and pops it foul to the right side, out of play. Still 3-2. Tense moment in this game. For as well as the game has been pitched, every time somebody reaches base, it starts to get a little nerve-wracking. 3-0 St. Francis leads, and for the way that Reardon has gone today, that 3-run lead does seem like a big number, but it can turn around in a hurry against this very tough St. Xavier lineup. Another 3-2. Inside, he walked him. 3rd walk of the game. Forney, who was hit by a pitch earlier in the inning, advances to second base, 2 on, nobody out. The batter is Griffin Bright. First time all game that St. Xavier's had 2 base runners on at once. Reardon was under 80 pitches for the game at the start of this inning, so one would not think that he'd be tiring out at this point. He's just gotten a little bit wild. He hit Forney, he walked Bright. Now it's Griffin Bright, who's 0 for 2 with a ground out and a fly out. 3-run deficit for the team at bat. Reardon's first pitch to Griffin Bright is bunted down the first base line, picked up by Cebulka. The throw to first is in time. Good enough play by Cebulka. The runners advance, but St. Francis more worried about the out at this point. They're 1 out closer to a victory, now just 5 away. There are 2 men in scoring position, which is certainly a concern. But in a 3-run game, the most important thing is the batter, which right now is leadoff man Drew Hunniford, batting for the 4th time. Hunniford is 0 for 1. He popped out to right field his last time up. Walked twice earlier in the game. He swings the first pitch, deflects it off the glove of Reardon. It ricochets over to second base. Peterson scoops it up, but he's got no play. Second hit of the ball game for St. Xavier is another infield single. This one scores Forney from third base, and it's a 3-1 ball game. Not a whole lot anybody could have done with that one. Just an unfortunate placement on where that ball was hit. Forney scores. Garrett Bright goes to third base. Hunniford is safe at first on the infield hit. The batter is Matt Monahan. Monahan takes strike 1. The bullpen is busy now for St. Francis. Hunter Morawski is throwing. 0-1 on Monahan, who reached on an error in the first. He takes the ball outside, 1-1. Zach Forney was hit by a pitch. Garrett Bright walked. They were both bunted over by Griffin Bright. He gets an assist on Hunniford's RBI after Drew Hunniford brought home a run on an infield single. For Hunniford, that is the 19th RBI this year. Monahan takes the strike. He's behind in the count, 1-2. Runners at the corners, 1 out. That's the tying run potentially over at first base. He and Garrett Bright would both have to score first. Throw to first and back in safely again is Hunniford. Reardon has had an interesting day with Hunniford over at first base. Hunniford, a very good base stealer. And so Reardon's kept a close eye on him. He takes off. Monahan swings and lifts it into left field. Backing up is Sean Harper. He makes the catch going back. He's going to try to double up Hunniford at first base. The throw comes in a little bit late. The run scores from third. Garrett Bright crosses home plate on the sacrifice fly from Matt Monahan. It's now a 3-2 ball game. For Monahan, RBI number 45 this year. And here's Mark Martin with 2 outs in the 8th inning and the tying run over at first base. Martin is 0 for 3. He's popped out, lined out softly to short, and struck out looking. He takes first pitch strike. Hunniford's had an interesting day running the bases. He was picked off in the first. He made it from first to third on an errant pickoff throw in the 3rd inning. Here in the 5th, nearly doubled off of first base when he was running with a pitch that turned out to be a flyout. Strike 2 called over the outside corner. There was a little hesitation from the shortstop Dustin Kroeb after he received the throw from left fielder Sean Harper. Without the hesitation, would have been a very close play at first base. The 0-2. Popped foul and out of play. Martin hasn't done much with the stick tonight, but a .385 hitter. So Reardon is in no position to be taking him lightly. 6th batter of the inning. Far and away the most successful offensive inning of the game for St. Xavier. There's a foul ball. Martin stays alive. Prior to this one, the Cougars hadn't sent more than 4 batters to the plate in any inning. Nothing and 2 on Martin. Reardon sets. Here's the pitch. Ground ball left side. Tough play for Tesh. He dives, can't come up with it. Backhanded stop by Kroeb, but everybody's safe. Another infield single. St. Xavier's got 3 hits in the game. They've all been infield singles. Hunniford advances to second. 2 on, 2 out. And the batter is Matt Bunada. Bunada is 0 for 3. He's lined out to center, grounded out to third, and grounded out to second. Nobody's hit the ball hard this inning. But Reardon shot himself in the foot with a walk and a hit batter. And since then, he's run into some bad luck. Bonita takes ball one. An RBI infield single for Hunterford, a sacrifice fly on a shallow fly ball to left for Monahan, and then another infield single for Mark Martin. 1 ball, no strikes. Bonita takes high, 2-0. Borowski continues to throw in the bullpen. This may be Reardon's last batter to face. (2-0) misses, 3 balls and no strikes. It's been a long inning for John Reardon. He's up over 100 pitches for the game now. 3-0 on Nat Bonita, the catcher. And he pumps in a strike. It's 3-1. Saints scored 2 in the second, 1 in the sixth that they've led just about the entire game. St. Xavier has not led, but they're threatening with the tying run at second, the go-ahead run at first. Called strike 2 over the inside corner. Reardon has worked his way back into the at-bat. From 3-0 down, it's now a full count. A walk would load the bases for Max Downs. A base hit could tie the score. An extra base hit could give St. Xavier the lead. An out would end the inning. There's a line drive into left. Sean Harper comes in, makes the catch, and ends the top of the 8th. 2-run score for St. Xavier. They put a little scare into the Saints as they look to tie or take the lead, but they're 1 run short as they stop with 2 men left on base. We head to the bottom of the 8th inning. St. Francis looking for some insurance with a 1-run lead, 3-2. Part of the order to up for St. Francis in the bottom of the 8th. They could sure use a few insurance runs. St. Xavier put a scare into them in the top of the 8th inning, scoring 2 runs. But the Fighting Saints still have the advantage as Joe McGuire takes strike 1 from Jared Jones on for his 8th inning of work. McGuire's gone 0 for 3 against Jones so far. 3 groundouts, all to the left side. He takes a ball up and in, 1-1. McGuire, Farron, and Tesh are due to hit this inning. McGuire takes the ball inside, 2-1. Joe McGuire, a .291 hitter at the start of play today. Hasn't been able to do much at the plate, but Farron and Tesh have had some success today against Jones. Sean Harper bats if anyone reaches. McGuire trying to reach, flies one out to center field. Long run back, Max Downs, and it cuts away from him down into the right center field gap and to the wall. McGuire's got a double. 2-base hit Joe McGuire to lead off the 8th inning. Third double of the ball game for the Fighting Saints. And the batter is Anthony Farron. That ball just kept cutting further and further away from Max Downs. He had no chance to make the catch. First hit of the ball game for McGuire, a big one, with a chance to make this game a 2 or 3 run lead again. Farron is 2 for 3. He can pick up an RBI with a hit here potentially. He swings and fouls it off to the right side, strike 1. Farron's got a single, a double, and has scored 2 of the 3 runs. Isaiah Rivera is warming up in the bullpen right now for St. Xavier. Foul back, 0-2. Trying to get Jared Jones through this 8th inning. But the leadoff batter is aboard with a double. Nothing in 2 on Farron. There's a swing and a fly ball out to right center field. Downs and Hunniford giving it a run, and it drops between them. McGuire around third base coming in to score a double for Farron, his 2nd of the ball game. He's got his 32nd RBI of the year. 4-2. Saints. Back-to-back doubles. Begin the 8th inning. Big response for the St. Francis offense after St. Xavier just jumped on the scoreboard for the first time. 3 hits in the game now for Farron. And he will depart. Dolan Nicholson comes on as a pinch runner. Nicholson into run at second base. Farron's job is well done. 3 for 4. A single, 2 doubles, an RBI, and 2 runs scored. And Matt Bunada comes out to talk with Jared Jones as well, perhaps buying some time for his reliever to warm up, as Jones has been hit hard to begin this inning. He had retired 5 consecutive batters entering this inning. He looked sharp as ever, really, in the 7th. Josh Tesh bats with a runner at second base, nobody out here in the 8th. Tesh 1 for 3 with a double and a run. This one could be a bunting spot for him potentially. He swings away and pops it up out to center field. Downs comes in, but it'll stay on the infield. Garrett Bright, the second baseman, makes the grab. That's out number 1 in the 8th, and a big out for Jones. Here's Sean Harper. Harper has flown to right, grounded to the pitcher, and reached on an RBI fielder's choice. Throw came home to get Farron. Farron was safe. That was back in the 6th inning. That was the 3rd run of the game for St. Francis, a big one. Strike 1 called on Harper. In a pitcher's duel like this, every run is a big one. And at the time, we didn't know just how big it was, but it was 2-0. That extended to 3-0. Had they not scored that run, the 2 that St. Xavier scored in the top of the 8th would have been even more lethal. Liner to the third baseman. It's caught on the fly by Monahan. Throws back to second and doubles up Dolan Nicholson to end the inning. A screamer off the bat of Harper, but right to Monahan. Not a lot he could do about that one. And a tough break for St. Francis. Good play by Monahan to end the inning. 1 run scores on 2 doubles. We'll head to the 9th inning. Last chance for St. Xavier. The Fighting Saints lead them 4-2. Here we are in the 9th inning, 4-2. St. Francis holds the lead over St. Xavier. They've led throughout ever since their first couple of runs in the bottom of the 2nd inning. Max Downs leads things off and takes ball 1 outside. Hunter Morawski continues to warm up in the bullpen, but it's John Reardon's ball game right now as he misses low. 2-0 on Downs. Reardon cruised through 7 innings. He allowed only 1 hit, an infield single, and no runs, and then he had some trouble in the 8th inning. He gave up 2 more hits. Both of those were also infield singles. He also walked a batter and hit a batter, though, and allowed 2 runs. There's a hard hit ground ball just inside the 3rd baseline, bobbled by Tesh, and Downs is safe at first base. Not an easy play for Josh Tesh. That one wasn't clear off the bat as to whether or not it would be a fair ball. Just barely inside the line, and it went over 3rd base, I believe. And Tesh had to try to make a backhanded stop from his knees. He wasn't able to do it. He knocked it down, but by the time he threw to first base, well, there was no throw to first base. By the time he could have thrown it there, the play was essentially over. So it goes as a hit. It's another infield single, the 4th of the game for St. Xavier. They don't have a hit to the outfield yet. And it chases John Reardon from the game. With the tying run coming up to the plate, we'll see the St. Francis closer come in, and I'll tell you about him presently. Right now, I'll take a quick break. 4-2 Saints in the 9th. Hunter Morawski into the game for St. Francis with a runner at first base and nobody out in the top of the 9th inning. Fighting Saints lead by 2. And Morawski is looking for his 5th save of the season. He's 2-2 with a 1.9 ERA. This is his team high 15th appearance. In 23 2/3 innings, he's allowed 7 runs, 5 of them earned on 26 hits, 7 strikeouts, 15 walks. Opponents are batting .283 against Morawski this year. His first pitch. This is outside for ball 1. It's 1-0 on Mike Farnan, getting his 2nd at bat of the game. Farnan came on as a pinch hitter in the 7th inning and flew out to right field. He takes ball 2 inside for Morawski. Max Downs is at first. He reached on an infield single to begin the inning, a grounder just inside the 3rd base line that Josh Tesh couldn't handle on the backhand. There's a pop-up, foul territory, right side. Looks like it'll get into the seats. It lands on the lawn down the right field line. Count is 2-1. Farnan in the batter's box. Ben Zordani is on deck. Barring a double play, Garrett Bright would bat 3rd. And there's ball 3 on Farnan. 3-1. St. Xavier in today's game has 4 hits. All of them have been infield singles. They scored both of their runs in the 8th inning. There's a called strike, 3-2. Looking to add a few more here in the 9th. It's just the 3rd time all day they've had their leadoff man reach base. The 1st, the 8th, and now the 9th. Between the 2nd and 7th innings, they didn't have a base runner with fewer than 2 outs. Three balls, 2 strikes on Farnan. John Reardon pitched 8+ innings, departed after giving up the leadoff single here in the 9th. Payoff pitch. Farnan takes ball 4. 2 on base, nobody out after the walk. Walks have hurt St. Francis today, no doubt about it. They've only given up 4 hits, all of them singles, but that's now the 4th walk issued to go along with 1 hit by pitch as well. Here's Ben Zordani. Zordani was pinch hit for last inning, and his replacement, Zach Forney, was hit by a pitch. And now Forney is done. Zordani back in. He bunts it back to the pitcher's mound. Morawski throws to third, and Tesh is able to hold the bag for the out. Risky play by Morawski. Rather than take the sure out at first base, he goes after the lead runner, and he gets him. But it was nearly a wild throw. Josh Tesh had to dive to make that grab, and he was able to hold the bag with his foot. Great play by Tesh. Downs is retired. Farnan up to second base. Zordani is safe at first on the failed sacrifice. It goes as a fielder's choice, 1-5. Here's Garrett Bright. Bright checks his swing. It's a first pitch strike. Tying run still on base, but with 1 out, it's a little bit less scary for Morawski. He fires another strike. It's 0-2. He could potentially end the ball game here with a ground ball. 0-2. In the dirt, ball 1. Cebulka popped out of his crouch, looking down to second base, where Farnan was taking a good secondary lead after that pitch had nearly gotten away from Cebulka. But he hustled back to the bag. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Zordani at first, Farnan at second, another one in the dirt. Again, the runners are forced to hold. 2-2. Morawski struggling with his command since entering. He walked Farnan. He's thrown 6 balls since coming in to 5 strikes. There's a liner to second base, caught on the fly by Peterson, throws back to first in time to double up Zordani, and there's your ball game. The Saints take care of St. Xavier and end their 6-game winning streak in Game 1 of this 3-game series. Final score, Saints 4, Cougars 2. It was a thriller in the end. Great pitchers duel throughout between John Reardon and Jared Jones. St. Francis held the lead from the 2nd inning onward, and St. Xavier certainly made it interesting in the end, but not interesting enough to make it a comeback. Let's go back over the scoring in this game. St. Francis scored the first 2 runs in the 2nd inning. Anthony Farron singled, Josh Tesh doubled, putting runners at second and third with nobody out. They got their runs on a John Peterson RBI groundout and then a run-scoring base hit from Adam Cebulka. It was 2-0 all the way into the 6th inning. Anthony Farron doubled to lead it off. He scored when Sean Harper reached on a fielder's choice later in the inning. That made it 3-0. John Reardon was outstanding on the mound for St. Francis. After the first 2 batters of the game reached, he didn't allow another base runner until the 3rd and only 1 base runner over the next 4 innings. The first hit of the game for St. Xavier didn't come until there were 2 outs in the 5th. That's when Garrett Bright reached on an infield single. The Cougars ended the ball game today with 4 total hits. None of them left the infield. They were all infield singles, so a bizarre game from that standpoint. But they didn't really threaten to score until the 8th. Prior to the 8th inning, they had only had 1 man in scoring position, and they hadn't had a runner on base with fewer than 2 outs since the 1st inning. But in the 8th, Zach Forney led off by getting hit by an 0-2 pitch. Garrett Bright then walked, and a sacrifice bunt put them at second and third with 1 out. Drew Hunterford picked up an RBI on a base hit. Matt Monahan drove in another one on a sacrifice fly. That made the score 3-2 St. Francis, and things were a lot tighter. They were able to distance themselves, though, a bit in the 8th when Anthony Farron struck again. It started this time with Joe McGuire. McGuire hit a leadoff double. Farron knocked him in on his 2nd double and 3rd hit of the ball game. That made it 4-2. And then in the top of the 9th inning, St. Xavier threatened. The first 2 batters reached on a single and a walk, but a fielder's choice on a failed sacrifice bunt attempt from Zordani got the first out, and then a base running mistake from Zordani had him doubled up on a line out to second base hit by Garrett Bright. That ended the ball game. St. Francis comes out on top, 4-2. Our final totals today for St. Xavier: 2 runs, 4 hits, no errors. For St. Francis, 4 runs, 9 hits, 2 errors. The winning pitcher, John Reardon, improves to 6-2. Reardon went 8 innings. He allowed 2 runs, both of them earned on 4 hits, 5 strikeouts, 3 walks. The losing pitcher in today's game, despite pitching well, Jared Jones, falls to 3-2 in 8 innings. He allowed 4 runs, 9 hits, struck out 1, didn't walk anybody. A complete game defeat for Jared Jones today. With the win, St. Francis improves to 24-17. They are still in second place all by themselves in the conference with a 16-6 mark. Now just 3 games behind St. Xavier with a doubleheader coming up against them tomorrow. St. Xavier falls to 27-12 for the year. They're 19-3 in conference. Their 6-game winning streak comes to a close. Both these teams are tough to beat at home. St. Francis now 17-3 on their home field this year. St. Xavier is 10-1 at home, so it'll be a tough challenge for the Fighting Saints tomorrow, but we'll see how it goes. That doubleheader begins at noon at St. Xavier. Next home one for the Fighting Saints is coming up next Wednesday, a 5 o'clock start time and a doubleheader against Trinity International University. That's Wednesday evening starting at 5 o'clock here at home. We'll have that entire broadcast for you right here through the St. Francis YouTube and Facebook pages, GoFightingSaints.com, wherever you find your St. Francis baseball. You can find us on Wednesday evening for that doubleheader against Trinity International. That'll do it for today's game, though. The Saints beat the Cougars 4-2. Until next time, this is Harry Bonadonna signing off for the University of St. Francis. Have a good night.